At 46, Craig Melvin is known for being steady, thoughtful, and careful with his words. That's why what he reportedly shared about Savannah Guthrie has resonated so deeply. This wasn't a televised confession or a dramatic on-air revelation. It was described as a quiet, personal conversation among trusted colleagues reflecting on how Savannah has been coping during an incredibly painful family crisis involving her mother, Nancy. According to those familiar with the discussion, Craig wasn't speculating or spreading gossip. He was trying to make sense of what he has witnessed firsthand. A woman holding herself together under unimaginable stress. His reflections weren't about ratings or newsroom politics. They were about something far more human, the lifelong bond between a daughter and her mother, and how that bond shapes the way someone survives heartbreak in public. The bond that defined a life. Craig's reflections centered on the powerful relationship between Savannah and her mother, Nancy. He described it not as unhealthy or cruel, but as intense, built on high expectations, discipline, and deep love. From a young age, Savannah was reportedly encouraged to excel, to aim higher, to push further than she thought possible. That kind of parenting can build remarkable resilience, and Savannah's career certainly reflects that strength. But Craig suggested that when love and achievement become closely intertwined, it can create internal pressure that never truly fades. Even in adulthood, even in success, the desire to make a parent proud can remain a driving force. In times of crisis, that inner voice grows louder. According to Craig's perspective, Savannah isn't just navigating a difficult moment, she's navigating it through the lens of a lifetime of wanting to be strong enough, capable enough, and worthy enough. Strength learned. Early Savannah's journey to becoming a respected journalist was never accidental. Craig recalled how she once shared stories of choosing difficult paths because they aligned with what her mother believed she was capable of achieving. Decisions about school, career, and public life were shaped by encouragement to reach beyond comfort. That encouragement helped shape the composed anchor viewers know today. But Craig suggested that it also created a reflex. The instinct to never appear shaken, never let fear take over publicly. Strength became second nature. In normal circumstances, that discipline serves her well. In extraordinary circumstances, it can mean carrying pain privately while presenting calm externally. Craig didn't frame this as criticism. Instead, he described it almost tenderly, as admiration mixed with concern. Because sometimes the strongest people are the ones who struggle most to let themselves be vulnerable. The composure the world sees. During recent public appearances and recorded messages, Savannah has remained composed, her tone measured, her posture steady. Craig reportedly pointed out that viewers might interpret that composure in many ways: professionalism, training, media savvy. But from his perspective as someone who has worked beside her for years, it looked deeper than that. It looked learned. He suggested that Savannah's instinct is always to present clarity rather than chaos, resolve rather than desperation. Even in personal crisis, she speaks with structure and restraint. That kind of composure doesn't mean a lack of emotion. Often it means the opposite. Emotion carefully contained. Craig's insight reframes what audiences are seeing. Instead of asking why she doesn't appear more visibly distressed, he invites people to consider how deeply she may be feeling everything, while holding herself to an internal standard that leaves little room to fall apart publicly. Love and expectation, intertwined. One of the most meaningful points Craig reportedly shared was about the connection between love and expectation. In Savannah's upbringing, those two forces may have been closely linked. High standards were not separate from affection, they were expressions of it. That kind of dynamic can produce extraordinary achievement, but it can also create a lasting belief that strength equals worthiness. Craig emphasized that he believes Nancy loves her daughter deeply. This is not a story about cruelty or coldness. It is about intensity. When expectations are consistently high, a child may grow into an adult who equates composure with approval. In a crisis, that wiring doesn't disappear. If anything, it becomes more pronounced. Craig suggested that Savannah may feel compelled to remain steady not only for the public, but for the internalized image of the mother who taught her to never surrender to panic. A mother's voice that never leaves Craig described something profoundly human, the way a parent's voice lives inside us long after childhood ends. Even when a parent isn't physically present, their guidance echoes in decisions and reactions. For Savannah, that voice may be one that says, "Stay strong, think clearly, don't crumble." Craig suggested that this internal dialogue might be shaping how she navigates the current ordeal. It's not about performance for cameras. It's about reflex. The instinct to demonstrate resilience may feel less like a choice and more like muscle memory. That doesn't mean she isn't hurting. It may mean she believes strength is the best way to honor the person she loves. Craig's reflections encourage compassion rather than speculation, understanding that what looks like emotional distance may actually be the deepest form of attachment. The cost of being unbreakable. There is admiration in Craig's words, but also concern. He reportedly spoke about the invisible toll of always being the strong one. When someone becomes known for composure, others sometimes forget they are human. Craig suggested that Savannah has carried that identity for decades. The dependable one, the prepared one, the poised one. In a moment when most people would collapse under fear, she continues to speak clearly and stand tall. That strength is extraordinary. But even extraordinary strength has limits. Craig's reflections weren't meant to expose anything scandalous. They were meant to humanize. He seemed to be saying that being unbreakable for so long can make it difficult to allow yourself softness, even when softness might be healing. The world sees steadiness. A colleague sees the effort it takes to maintain it. Breaking the pattern with her own children. Interestingly, Craig also reflected on Savannah as a mother. He observed that she appears gentler, more openly expressive with her own children. Where she may have been taught to push through difficulty quietly, she seems to allow her kids space to feel freely. That difference isn't accidental. It may be growth. It may be conscious evolution. Craig suggested that Savannah could be giving her children something powerful, reassurance that love does not need to be earned through perfection. That contrast highlights the complexity of generational influence. We often absorb our parents' strengths while slowly reshaping the parts that felt heavy. In this way, Savannah's public resilience and her private tenderness can coexist. One reflects the discipline she inherited. The other reflects the compassion she is cultivating. Seeing the person behind the anchor. For years, audiences have known Savannah Guthrie as a skilled journalist on Today. They see the anchor who asks tough questions and delivers breaking news with calm authority. Craig's reflections invite viewers to look beyond that professional identity. Behind the anchor is a daughter. Behind the poise is a person navigating fear, uncertainty, and love all at once. Public figures often appear larger than life, but their emotional landscapes are just as complex as anyone else's. Craig didn't describe scandal or secrets. He described humanity. He described a woman shaped by high expectations, sustained by deep love, and now facing a situation that tests both. That framing changes how we interpret composure. It transforms it from detachment into devotion. Compassion over speculation. As conversations swirl online, Craig's reported message stands out because it calls for empathy. Instead of analyzing every facial expression or tone shift, he suggests understanding the lifelong foundation beneath them. When someone has been raised to believe that strength is a form of love, that belief doesn't disappear under pressure. It intensifies. Savannah's calm may not signal absence of fear. It may signal determination. Craig's perspective reframes public perception. This is not about image management. It is about a daughter trying to embody the lessons she was given even in the most painful moment of her life. If there is one takeaway from his reflections, it is this. Sometimes the strongest posture hides the most vulnerable heart. Letting strength and humanity coexist. Ultimately, Craig's reflections are less about revelation and more about recognition. They remind us that resilience and vulnerability can exist side by side. Savannah's steadiness does not cancel out her fear. Her composure does not negate her love. If anything, it may be the language through which she expresses it. Craig's decision to speak, even privately, seems rooted in care. He wants people to see that behind the calm exterior is someone carrying both present pain and decades of internal expectation. The hope, perhaps, is that when this difficult chapter passes, she will feel permission to rest, to be supported rather than strong, to be comforted rather than composed. Because even those who appear unbreakable deserve the space to simply be human.